to move that we thank
Happy to second.
Hannah for her input, and seconded by Councillor Walker. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
Carried. So we move on to extraordinary business. There is none. No notices of motion. And we're on to the Faux Coastal Walkway Environmental Trust MOU review. So I'd like to invite Iris and your team to tell us your thoughts. And just while the team make their way up, I just want to acknowledge Iris Donoghue. I think most people here know Iris, but Iris was the driving force behind setting up many community organisations, including Eco Matters Trust, and she's responsible for the community partnership way that we deal with graffiti now in the Auckland region. It was Iris who actually was almost 20 odd years ago started those community partnerships that got recidivist taggers out there painting out graffiti. So we owe, as a region, Iris a debt of gratitude. Thank you. Iris, over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, Mr Mayor and councillors. And thank you for the opportunity of coming here to talk to you about our very exciting project. I would like to acknowledge also that we have two of our board members from the local boards. From the Henderson Massey local board we have Peter Chan. From the Faux local board we have Derek Battersby. And on my right hand side we have Tony Miguel, who is the Deputy Chair of the Trust. And to my left we have Jackie Bird, our amazing project manager, and Mace Ward. So firstly, we'd like to thank Council and this committee, the Faux and the Henderson Massey local boards, and Council staff for the support we have received to date. The Faux Coastal Walkway is in a transformational project that will create a 13-kilometre walkway and cycleway linking Green Bay, Newlyn, Kelston, Glendine and Te Atatu in various stages over the next 5 years, at an estimated cost of between $60 to $70 million, delivered as a council community partnership. It also aims to connect people with the Faux River environment, contribute to restoring this environment, and open up additional recreational activities. The Faux Coastal Walkway Environmental Trust has already raised nearly $1.5 million since March 2015, through its links with the local Trust Community Foundation. And this, together with council and the local board funding, has enabled the construction of the first stage, comprising nearly 2 kilometres at McLeod Park, Archibald Park, Ken Maunder and Olympic Park. There is already positive feedback from the local communities confirming that these walkways are being widely used and appreciated by the community. In partnership with iwi, Auckland Council and Auckland Transport, we're now undertaking the scheme assessment in consultation with the local communities. Once this work is completed, it will be possible to approach the NZTA to seek a funding contribution. We express our ongoing support for the MOU and hope that you will as a council too, and that council provides a framework for our relationship. We are now entering a very critical phase of this project, and we seek council and local board ongoing support as part of the Greenways plan and walking and cycling program through the annual plan, the local board plans and the long-term council community planning processes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Iris. And although this is a very straightforward machinery recommendation, just to tidy up the memorandum of understanding, I'm happy to take a couple of questions if people have them, and I'm going to add a third recommendation that we report back on the Faux Coastal Walkway in May to chart the progress of this important project. Some words that Tam and I will work out along those lines. So any questions, members? Councillor Casey.
Fabulous project, Iris.
Can I just ask where the two documents are that are meant to be attached to the agenda? That's,
Would be in the addendum, I think.
I think,
I didn't see, I
they
haven't seen
were-
them.
I think electronically they're
Electronic, yeah,
there.
there.
Have we got a hard copy for the,
I can't even see them electronically, to be
Dinosaurs,
fair, so I was
Are
going to ask the same question.
Ah, okay.
So we've got a number of extra,
Yeah.
but it's not there.
So that one's not there. We do
two,
have
there's
an
two.
awful lot of electronic attachments, and that is hard. One which is 200 pages. It's a challenging one. So let's check, Councillor Casey, and we can get back to
for a
you.
big one, you can just leave it on the 26th
Aye.
floor for us to look at.
Yeah, I think we're going to need to look at a little bit of halfway stuff, at least, maybe one copy that people can peruse, because some of it is a little bit challenging electronically. Any other questions for the team? Okay, so Tam, do we have, I think, and we'll expand out. So by Progress on the Coastal Walkway gives us an opportunity to look at the linkages between this project and other transport projects. It gives us an opportunity to understand the funding for this project, and it also allows us to look at some of the linkages to our critical biodiversity and healthy waters projects that link in with this as well. It's one of those magic projects, as Councillor Casey says, that touches a whole lot of the good things that our city's trying to do. Councillor Simpson.
Just a suggestion, Madam Chair, for C, report back on the progress. Do you want to say financial and...
I was treading a little bit carefully because there's kind of a little wall between what we're allowed, even though it's a project that fits very neatly in this committee. We can't ask for financial reports because they need to go to the finance committee, which then kind of tears it apart from the wider considerations here. So good spotting, Councillor Simpson. I was being fluid.
It just seems silly to
So
double up.
if we can just park that, we'll work out the complexity of the committee reporting, which is still a bit messy. Councillor Casey, was that? Oh no, you're doing the computer. All right. Any other issues people wish to raise? I will move those. Is there a seconder? Councillor Filipaina, and I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. And warmly thank this extraordinary team of people who are doing this on a voluntary basis and transforming a critical part of our city. So thank you warmly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Clove, for your role in this. It's hugely appreciated. Thank you. So we move on to Te Muri. So I think, is this Mace again? Mace and team. Te Muri, the variation to the Regional Parks Management Plan. That's one of these that we can take as read, and if there are any questions, I don't think this is an issue that has been worked through and worked through and worked through, and it's come to a logical conclusion. Is there anything that you'd like to add, Mace, or Neil?
Nothing to add, Madam Chair, other than we've enjoyed a lot of community support for the management plan variation, and this enables the development of this significant piece of parkland and northeast coast of the region.
Good, well done. We congratulate you, and would someone like to, actually, Councillor Fletcher, would you like to move this, having taken a role in, or strong role in a lot of the work that was done previously in this?
I'm happy to do so.
That would be good. Thank you, Councillor Fletcher. And Councillor Wayne Walker will second. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye.
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 It's carried. Thank you. Well done. Our next item, and again, it's Mace. It's our Friends of Auckland Botanical Gardens, the expenditure request.
I have Mr Jack Hobbs here, Madam Chair, as Manager of Auckland Botanic Gardens, who will introduce this item. And
Lovely. Thank you. Welcome, Jack.
Thank you very much. In summary, the Friends of the Botanic Gardens have a licence with Council to undertake sculpture in the gardens, and part of that licence is that they can retain the commissions on any artworks they sell for the purpose of purchasing artworks for permanent display at the Botanic Gardens. This fund has grown to around $114,000 over the 10 years that the exhibition has been run. And the Friends are requesting that Council approves that they vary the use of part of this funding so that they can utilise it for the purposes of covering operational expenses for the upcoming Sculpture in the Gardens exhibition, which is scheduled to open on the 11th of November this year. They're asking that of the $114,000 that is tagged for artwork purchase, that they can utilise $74,000 for the purpose of covering operational costs. These operational costs are the things that most funders find very uninteresting to fund, such as concrete under the ground, engineers' costs, all the costs associated with complying with consent conditions, and of course security. So the funding for the next exhibition is proving a challenge for the Friends. With this allocation of $74,000 for a different purpose than the licence stipulates, they will get the next exhibition across the line.
I think just to add, Madam Chair, thanks, Jack, is we're also recommending that we renew the licence, delegation to myself. We're now 10 years into the exhibition, and it's been 2005 since the original licence, and there's a need to refresh how the Friends approach this, what's become quite a significant enterprise, in terms of assisting them more with raising of money and the sponsorship to actually ensure this exhibition is sustainable into the future. So that'll be a real focus that we'll come back to you with that renegotiated licence.
That's great. Thank you, Liz. Any questions? Councillor Fletcher.
Oh, Madam Chair, I didn't have questions, but I'm happy to move the item and speak to it.
Excellent.
Madam
Seconded,
Chair, can
Councillor
I
Cashmore.
just commend Mr Hobbs for those who are new to this council. They may not know the extraordinary history of success that he has been associated with. And on this particular item, this has been a runaway success, and it's been a runaway success for the people of South Auckland, which is an area that has not always enjoyed the opportunities in an artistic sense. And so I am very happy to move this. I know that there'll be some sitting around the table here who's sort of take an approach that this is not the specific use of those funds. But for anyone who's been actively involved in the volunteer sector, you know that to get untagged funds, that non-sexy stuff, as the speaker has indicated, is very, very difficult. So I really welcome this from a tourism perspective, from an artistic perspective, from a just amenity for South Auckland perspective. This has been a great success. So for those who don't know, the Friends of Regional Parks organisation, of the Botanical Gardens, they are well served in terms of good professional people working. They might be volunteers, but they bring professional skills to the organisation, and I would strongly encourage you to support this. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got Councillor Simpson and Councillor Casey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm finding it difficult to, in the information that I have, to support the amendments, and I want to foreshadow that I have, the resolutions that I want to foreshadow that I've got some amendments that I think you have in front of you. But just by way of questions first, we don't have, I think it's a fantastic event, outstanding. I've been myself, and I really commend the Friends on what they're doing. But I don't know how much it costs to run the event. And I don't know how much that's gone up sort of extra, each year, because it's got bigger and bigger. I think the worry I have, and my question is, if we start using CapEx for OpEx, we start going down a slippery slope. So I want to know, if the amount that you're asking us for is obviously the amount that you're short. So how much does it cost all over? How much sponsorship do you have, and what have you done to look at getting further sponsorship so that you don't have to use the CapEx, which actually gives us art for the city, which is something we sometimes struggle with, take away the funds for art for the city.
Right. So in terms of the total cost of the exhibition, so the cost of the operational costs, which are just the things that I talked about before, which are security, engineering, installation, de-installation and stipends to artists, that is around $224,000. There is also an event manager who's been employed by the Friends, and that's $65,000. And there is also community engagement on top of that, and that's as big as you want it to be. But community engagement is not a problem for us to raise funds for. In fact, the funding agencies in the past that have provided funding have invariably asked that their funds go to community engagement. The exception has been Foundation North, who previously have allowed the funds to be used that they have allocated for operational costs. They have allocated $50,000 to the upcoming exhibition, but they have tagged it for community engagement, which is part of the difficulty that Friends confront. The Friends have, on top of the $74,000 that they are requesting council approve they use for operational costs, have also committed another $50,000 out of their general fund